It's Bob from Gil Skillz here. You may remember a video in recent past where I've replaced the front brakes and rotors on a 2010 Toyota RAV4. Today, we're going to replace the rear brakes and rotors on a 2010 Toyota RAV4. So again, this is the patient, and we're going to take very good care of her today. So stay tuned for this exciting episode of Gil Skillz.
Okay, here's the brakes and the rotors I'll be using for this repair. As you can see, I paid $58.80 for the rotors and the brakes. To get this done professionally, it would cost approximately $150. So to do it yourself, you can save a considerable amount of money and have that well of pride and self-accomplishment in your heart. So the first thing we need to do is get the rear end of the vehicle up in the air. One thing that I'd like to disclose is that I did repair both sides with the brake pads and the rotors. But in this video, I'm only showing one side, as the other side is identical. There's no differences. Aren't you impressed with how fast I can work? Time to put up the tri-stands. One piece of advice I can definitely give if you're going to do your own brakes is when you buy the brake pads, make sure that you get those metal clips with it. If you don't, it's a real pain. You got to make sure that those old clips are real clean, and sometimes they can be rusty, and it can cause the brakes to jam up and cause all sorts of problems. So do yourself a favor and make sure that you get the clips with the brake pads. In this particular experience, my brake pads didn't come with clips, so I had to go through the painstaking process of making sure that all those clips were cleaned meticulously. So here we're looking at the caliper itself. Now I'm taking a screwdriver and I'm putting it in the hole to separate the rotor from the disc brakes itself so I could remove the caliper from the bracket. Okay, now it's time to take the brake caliper off itself. The nuts are here and here, as I also demonstrate. The bolts may have a rust seal on them, so you may need to break them free by either banging on the ratchet itself or using an impact wrench. I don't have an actual impact wrench, so this is my poor man's way of doing it. So now it's time to take the brake pad bracket off as well. Here's another helpful tip. You may be able to replace just your brake pads. When you inspect your rotors, check to see if there's excessive scoring and grooves. Run your finger over the rotor. If it doesn't feel smooth to the touch and feels more like a deep grooved record, then chances are you'll want to replace your rotor. Trust me, your brake pads will last a lot longer in the long run. And you also want to make sure that you feel both sides. The worn down brake pads are preventing me from taking the bracket off. They're too close to the rotor, so I need to separate them. Ta-da! You also want to make sure that there's play in this bracket. That's exactly what I'm doing now, making sure it slides back and forth, so the brakes are evenly applied to the rotor. With the rear brakes, there's this little tab, this rubber tab. Make sure you pull it off and you save it for the replacement rotor. There are different methods of attack when it comes to taking an old rotor off the car. One, you can screw in screws with those two holes that you see there, and eventually the pressure from the screw will pop the rotor off. The second method is to beat the crap out of it with a hammer until it comes off. I chose option number 2 because it's fun. You just want to be careful doing it this way so you don't hit the threads and accidentally strip them. I would also advise, if you're going to do it this way, make sure that you have ear protection. Protect your hearing. And there's some more light iron scrap. And here's what the hub looks like with the rotor off. As you can see, there's separate brakes for the emergency brakes. Before the new rotors can be installed, they'll have to be cleaned. They come with this oily residue to prevent rusting before people buy them. They'll need to be cleaned with either a good brake cleaner or simply rubbing alcohol. You'll want to make sure the wheel hub is free from any debris. So what I'm doing is I'm just simply taking a wire brush and just scrubbing it up to make sure it's nice and clean for the new rotor replacement. Oh, and wiping down the back just to clean up any excessive brake dust that may have accumulated over time. And as you can see, the new rear rotor is a perfect fit. I use a lug nut here to hold the rotor in place while I finish assembling the brake pad bracket and put the caliper back in place. And of course, put the little rubber stopper back where it belongs as well. There was a bit of rust buildup on the brake pad bracket itself, which made the brake pads really hard to move and adjust and pull them out. I'm trying to be super careful here not to damage any of the clips, as they will need to be preserved for the new brake pads later. Remember folks, learn from my mistake. When you buy your brake pads, make sure the clips come included with them. It's going to cost you a little more, but in the long run, it's going to make your life a lot easier if you replace your brakes yourself. And here are the new brake pads. As you'll see very shortly, this is where I discover that those little clips aren't included in this box. Because my new brake pads didn't come with the clips, I had to improvise a bit. So I took a wire brush and I cleaned the clips while they were still mounted on the brake pad bracket. What I had to do behind the scenes is I had to take the clips off the brake pad bracket and then scrub the brake pad bracket down because there was excessive rust on those as well. What you're seeing now is the first attempt for me getting the brake pads into the brake pad bracket, and they were very, very tight. So much so that I felt that the rear brakes wouldn't function properly. So that's what prompted me to take the clips off and scrub the actual brake pad bracket down. And after about 15 minutes of scrubbing, I got them to the point where I could fit the brake pads in perfectly. Time to put the brake pad bracket back in place. Now we'll need to use a C-clamp to push the caliper in so that it's flush so it can be mounted back on the brake pad bracket.
Good. Good.
And this is what it looks like when the job is complete. A beautiful rotor, thick brake pads, perfect stopping power. All that's left now is to put the tires back on and take it for a test drive to see how well the brakes work.
Alright guys, let's give this a try, shall we? Alright, so we're going to take it for a quick spin. Make sure that the brakes are all working the way they should. There's no weird noises. There. So far, so good. Once I put my belt on. So far, the brakes are working. There we go, that's better. Alright, so let's give this a shot. Go up the street a little ways, and then we'll stop a few times. Just make sure there's nothing going on. When you stop, when you come back after your test drive, just go a couple of miles. Don't go too far. When you come back, just kind of do a quick inspection of the back. Make sure that there's no burning smell. Make sure your tire rims aren't hot. Just make sure that everything seems to be in order. Everything seems to be in order. Everything seems to be working well. So, I'm looking for 500 subscribers from now until the end of the year, 2016. I'm hoping that I can count on your support and help. It seems like my auto repair videos have been a big hit. The two that I've done have gotten a couple of thousand views plus each, which is awesome. I'd really like to see if I can get at least 500 subscribers between now and end of year. I'll just turn around over here. We'll head back home. Give me a second here. There we go. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful day out. So I hope this helped you out. If you're new to doing this sort of stuff, or if you can't afford to bring your vehicle to a dealer or a regular mechanic or whatever, brakes aren't too hard, as you can see. I did a video on front brakes for a 2003 Toyota RAV4 and a 2010, which is what I'm driving right now. And like I said, it's been a hit. A lot of people have been watching them, and hopefully a lot of people will be watching this too. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below or even message me privately. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if I could save you a couple of $100 in labor, I'd love it. I'd love to do that for you. And that's kind of one of the main reasons of my channel, is to help make a little extra money scrapping and help save a little money in normal everyday stuff like car repairs and home improvements and stuff like that. So please like, subscribe, comment on my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.
As always, thank you for watching. Please show your support for the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Please click on any of the links to watch more Gil Skillz videos.